Good afternoon. I'm Dr. G, and this is Dr. G's ADHD Chat. This is a show designed to make the world safe for ADHDers. Uh, I am a clinical psychologist and neuropsychologist, and I'm also the parent of an ADHD child. And I can freely admit that I have made every mistake you can make trying to raise an ADHD kid. In my own defense, I'll say that they hadn't even invented the term ADHD when my youngest was born. That came along when he was about 10 years old, I guess. And since then, though, we have learned a whole bunch. We have got a lot of information that we have not been using or had not used in when I was in the early stages of raising my young man. And one of the things that we notice every year in ADHD families is the holidays. Uh, for most of us, it's first Thanksgiving and then it's Christmas. And they all share one huge commonality. They are major disruptions in whatever routines you've established for your child and your family as a whole. I mean, it's pretty amazing, you know. I mean, over the river and through the woods to grandmother's house just means the rules are off. They are no longer apply. And the thing is, knowing as we know that ADHD is a neurologic condition, it is due to actual differences in the way the brain chemistry works. It is not a behavior disorder. It is not just being an ornery kid or something. It's because of a neurologic condition. So, guess what that means? That means that we don't have the luxury of just sort of letting things flow. We have to actually manage the situation, anticipating the problem areas and handling them. I mean, that's why I call my parenting program strategic, because you're thinking ahead, observing ahead, and ideally intercepting things before they get to be a problem. Okay, so what kinds of things are likely to be an issue with the holidays? Okay, probably the first one, and it's not just this, but anytime there's a disruption, you have got a routine that you've established. It is now disrupted. They don't have to get up in time to get ready for school. They don't have to go to bed, so they get a good night's sleep. But you are in the position of having to enforce those rules. You can lighten up on them a little bit, but you still have to have pretty close to the same bedtime and pretty close to the same getting up time. I mean, some folks just say, whoopee, I don't care. Let them do whatever they want to do. But if you let your kids stay up all night playing video games, you are going to have a nasty next day. There is just no doubt about it. So try to stay as close to you can on the same schedule that you have always kept them on. Okay? That does a couple of things. For one thing, we know sleep tends to be standardized. That is, if you are used to going to bed at a certain time and waking up at a certain time, your body will tend to want to continue doing that. But if you're, love for the video game or whatever, staying up late and watching whatever you can on TV, we still have TVs, right? But anyway, you'll disrupt that, but you won't be comfortable doing it. Okay, you can stay up later than your normal going to bed time, but you pay for it. You don't feel right the next day, and so on. So try to keep them to the same routine especially for sleep. And another thing you want to do and want to encourage, and God, you force it even if you have to, is exercise. Okay? We know that exercise is really good for, especially, well, it's good for all of us, but it's especially good for the ADHD brain. Uh, Rate estimates that 45 minutes of aerobic exercise is good for, well, he says about 8 hours of improved concentration and focus. I think that's a little high, but hey, it's some number of multiple hours that you get. Okay, so it's important that your child get regular exercise the whole holiday period. Whether it's playing soccer or going for a run or riding a bicycle or going for a swim or paddling a kayak, whatever you guys do in your family for exercise, hiking, beautiful. Uh, you want to make sure that they do at least 45 minutes of it. An hour wouldn't hurt either. But you want to get a regular exercise in. Uh, be like the Kennedys and play a family game of touch football. As long as it's moving, as long as you're, you know, puffing a little bit when you get done. That's what you want. The next thing you got to watch out for is all the little treats that are lying around. You know, uh, I remember it's the only place I ever saw it, but my grandparents, they had candy dishes everywhere in every room. And oh boy, did I like that. But one thing, if you don't know anything else about ADHDers, they don't do well when their blood sugar is going all over the place. Okay? If they're eating a lot of sweets, their blood sugar is going way up, way up. And if after about 20 or 30 minutes, your body starts to respond to all that extra sugar and your blood level goes way down. Either one of those times, you have a kid who's jittery and out of control and likely to get into trouble. So you want to make sure that you keep the sugar to a limit. Okay? You can't have just nothing but pure sugar. It'll be a nightmare. Okay? Because like I said, you get a spike in blood sugar very quickly, and about 20 minutes later, you get a spike in insulin, and boom, your blood sugar goes down to nothing. That's not fun to be around people in either end of that little cycle. So you can have things with sugar in them, but preferably you want things that have got some protein to balance it off, like peanut butter or peanuts, uh, almonds, whatever, that have a balance of protein so that the total sugar load is balanced off. Okay, and that there are lots of things out there in the world that are kind of sweet but still have a pretty good amount of protein on board. Dare I say, Reese's peanut butter cups? they You don't bonk when you're eating a Reese's. Like if you eat just Hershey's Kiss, you're gonna bonk, because you're getting huge amounts of sugar, but you're not getting any protein to balance it off. So you want to watch out for that, and you want to keep it to a minimum, and you want to, write to your mother before you go, hey mom, could we try to, get a little more protein into the candy part of things? Good luck, but that's what you need. Other things you want to watch out for. One of the things you want to do is a lot of times people have a tendency to do it all themselves. You've got this huge feast, and you've got company coming, and there's a whole lot to do. What you want to do, though, is give your ADHDer a sense of involvement. You want them to feel like they're contributing. So have them do something. Have them set the table. Have them uh, help you with who knows what, breaking the eggs into the in the beater bowl, or just some little thing that they can feel like they're involved and they're contributing. And of course, that's age dependent and uh, skill dependent to some extent, but you can do that. There's not a problem in the world. I mean, there's not. Think of all the things that have to happen to make a typical Thanksgiving dinner. Surely you can find one or two things that your ADHD can handle that will contribute to making it putting it together faster. Okay, and then they can feel like they've helped out. And I talk a lot about it, but ADHDers typically have low self-esteem, and they have low self-esteem because they get criticized so much, because they're impulsive and they don't pay attention very well, and they have poor working memory, and they have poor organization skills, and all those sorts of things. So they get a lot of criticism. So you want to give them a chance to earn a little credit and feel good about helping out the family. Okay, those are probably the biggest things to think about. You want to try to stay on your same routine. You want to not go bananas on the video games, okay? Now, we know that it is impractical to forbid that your kid play any video games whatsoever. I mean, shoot, they are using computers in school. Matter of fact, you can't get through college without knowing how to use a computer. And, it's getting so that at every level they're using computers. It used to be a big deal when they had a calculator, and now they've got computers that will probably do more calculations than I did for my dissertation. Let's just put it that way. It's a tremendous tool, but you've got to keep it under control. Too much computer time, too much video game time is not good for your child. Mostly because it takes time away from other things like developing social skills, getting some exercise, all those sorts of things. You have the stereotype of the computer geek gone berserk who lives in his mother's basement and never goes out and just eats fast food and gets obese and has a big paint can that he uses for toilet things. We'll go past that real fast because that's pretty gross. But there are people like that. There are a bunch of them. I had one patient who basically lost an entire year of high school because all he did was play video games. And he was pretty clever, and he got his parents twisted around his finger because he kept complaining about vague physical problems, things like stomach upsets and that sort of stuff. So they kept taking him to the doctor to get this or that test. And pretty soon, before they knew it, he'd lost a whole year of school. Anyway, so you want them to be responsible. You want them to be able to function in society, and so you've got to keep some rules. I mean, it's not a huge thing. You just want them to be reasonably responsible citizens, and that never stops. Especially it gets challenged over the holidays. So that's about it for today. I invite you to, participate a little bit more. Tell me some things that you routinely do differently for the holidays. And and things you watch out for with your child, to try to minimize the effects of the ADHD. I'd be interested to hear about it, and I might use it in a future episode. We will see. Okay, we will catch you later, and thanks for watching.